To Irene in Home and Away. But first, with the time at 12:30, it's over to ITN.
From the studios of ITN, the news with Dermot Murnaghan and Carol Barnes.
Good afternoon, welcome to the Lunchtime News.
The headlines this Friday lunchtime. Freed on bail, the woman who killed her violent husband. Liberal Democrats celebrate their by-election victory as the Tories are pushed into third place. And is this the luckiest lottery shop in Britain? The Democrats won the Littleborough and Saddleworth by-election. The Tories were even beaten into a humiliating third place. Chris Davis for the Liberal Democrats took the seat with 16,231 votes, a majority of around 2,000 over Labour's Phil Woolas. The Tory candidate John Hudson got less than 10,000 votes. Our political correspondent Hugh Pym reports.
The traditional lap of honour for a Liberal Democrat by-election victor. Chris Davis out on a tour of his constituency this morning. For 10 years, he's challenged the Tories here, building up a typical Liberal grassroots organisation. He was always the front runner and likely to seize the seat from the Tories. It was nonetheless, he said, a highly significant victory.
This Liberal Democrat victory reduced the government's majority to single figures for the first time in 16 years. And it symbolised, most of all, the desire of so many people throughout this constituency and throughout the country for a change in government policies.
But the real story of this by-election was the scrap between the Liberal Democrats and Labour. Smiles last night there may have been, but there were bitter exchanges throughout the campaign as Labour set out to prove they could do well in a Liberal Democrat target seat. And this morning Labour celebrated a near doubling of their vote, what they called their best by-election result, starting from third place.
We have given the Liberal Democrats a nasty fright because they can no longer rely on disaffected Tories stopping at their halfway house. The protest vote the Liberal Democrats have always relied on is now becoming a positive vote for real change, a Labour vote.
The Conservative candidate didn't hold press conferences during the campaign. Today was no exception. In third place he may have been, but he said his vote could have been worse.
I admit that it's disappointing if you can't get people to the poll, but the circumstances didn't help when we'd had 4 weeks of doom and gloom, more or less telling our supporters that it would be a waste of time, we're out of the race. So really, I think the result was even more remarkable.
So although it's the Liberal Democrats who are toasting victory, each of the other parties is claiming some sort of success, anxious to write off the Liberal Democrat vote as a protest which can be reversed at the general election. Amidst all the Liberal Democrat celebrations, there is undoubtedly a profound sense of relief that they have kept their show on the road by beating off a strong and determined challenge from Labour. Hugh Pym, ITN, at Littleborough and Saddleworth.
So, is the result very bad news for the government, or is it just a case of mid-term blues? Should New Labour be worried they didn't win the seat, or should they take comfort from moving into second place? Here's our political editor, Michael Brunson.
The national opinion poll suggests that the Liberal Democrats are being squeezed by the two other big parties. Not in Littleborough and Saddleworth, they weren't.
We won, and that's really what counts. And we won against the biggest Labour campaign that has ever been mounted. That's on Labour's own admission of their history of by-elections.
But Labour, after all the controversy over their hard-hitting campaign, saw a bigger swing from the Conservatives to them, 17%, than the 11% recorded by the Lib Dems.
And interestingly enough, this seat vanishes under the boundary changes, and on the results last night, we will win the new seat, and Rochdale as well. And that's very encouraging.
As usual, the Tories believe things will swing back to them by the time of the general election. This was the Prime Minister's reaction.
I seem to recall Ribble Valley at the same stage of the last Parliament when a 20,000 majority disappeared. But the factor that is always consistent with these by-election defeats is that we win them back at the general election, and I've no doubt that will happen on this occasion.
And ITN's elections analyst, Professor Colin Rawlings, believes the Tories have some cause for hope.
The Conservatives have probably now reached the bottom. Nobody expects the Conservatives to get less than about 35% at the lowest in a general election, so they've obviously got to make some recovery before then. This may be the beginning of their recovery.
This result, though, effectively reduces the Tories' majority in the House of Commons to 9. Now, the Prime Minister also said this morning that he thought that that was a perfectly workable majority and that he still expects to go through the full term of this Parliament. However, it does mean that the government will want to avoid all controversial and tight votes. Look then to a very cautious Queen's speech in November. Michael Brunson, ITN, Westminster.
Earlier I spoke to the Liberal Democrat leader Paddy Ashdown, who was in Oldham as he prepared to leave for a victory tour. I asked him if his party's success wasn't simply a protest vote against an unpopular government.
No, I doubt it. It was very hard fought, and we fought it on the issues. We got a superb candidate, really tremendous candidate. 10 years, hard, committed work to this constituency. And I'm delighted Littleborough and Saddleworth have today got a first-class Member of Parliament. I've got a very powerful Member of Parliament to join my team. And the Liberal Democrats now are the most powerful Liberal force measured at any level. Local government, where we are governing in 4 times as many councils as the Conservatives. National government, where we have a larger parliamentary party than for half a century. And of course in the European Parliament too. So with this by-election we confirm that even in an area surrounded by Labour, where we are the challengers to the Conservatives, and even when Labour throws the kitchen sink at us, and some would argue the dustbin too, we're able to continue to win. And that shows the strength of the party, not only here, but elsewhere as well.
Well, as you said, you clearly managed to fight off the Labour challenge, but I mean, it's only a by-election. Do you really think that you've neutralised the Labour threat for good?
Well, no, and I don't build those castles in the air on by-elections. A by-election is a by-election, and it's better to win than come second, and we've done that, and Labour's come second. But I just ask you to reflect this. This seat was held, 3/4 of this seat was represented by a Labour Member of Parliament until 1983. Now, that shows you that the strength of the Liberal Democrat challenge and the failure of Labour to break through in this area. This area is a sea of red, quite unlike the other areas that we have challenging positions with the Conservatives in the west and southwest of the country. This shows the strength of the Liberal Democrats as a powerful, independent third force in this country, which, as you've seen from last night, more and more people want to vote for. Now, as it happens, this is my 7th birthday as leader of the Liberal Democrats, and as it happens, it's our 7th by-election win as well. So you have in front of you one very happy man, a very happy party, and a very happy new Member of Parliament for Littleborough and Saddleworth.
The Tory party chairman, Mr Marwin, is insisting this morning that the bedrock of Tory support remains undisturbed and that you can't hold the seat at a general election.
Oh, I wouldn't guarantee that. You know, I don't make predictions from by-elections. I think it's a mug's game. By-election is not a predictor of the future. It's like a snapshot, like the illumination of a photograph, which tells you where you are at this time. But this seat is going to have its boundaries redrawn. In Chris Davies, it's got a tenacious, determined candidate who showed his commitment, who knows the area, who is regarded by people in opinion polls as by far and away the best candidate in this by-election. I'm quite confident he'll hold this next time.